There comes a moment when silence grows louder, not because the world has stopped speaking, but because the voices you once counted on have shifted their direction. You sit alone, not lonely, but aware. Aware that the faces that used to fill the room are now preoccupied, distant, absorbed in the tides of their own lives. It doesn't happen suddenly. It unfolds like dusk, soft, subtle, and then one day you look around and realize the light has changed. You may have once believed that family would be your forever anchor. The people who celebrated your victories, wiped your tears, and stood by your side during storms. But something happens as you cross the threshold of 60. The world doesn't turn its back on you. It simply turns. Priorities rearrange. Children grow into their own battles. Friends move, retire, or vanish without warning. And time, that once predictable companion, becomes a trickster that changes the rules without notice. In those moments of realization, a new kind of strength must awaken. The kind not found in a phone call or a friendly visit. The kind that lives in silence, in self-reliance, in the unshakable truth that the deepest support you will ever find is built, not given. It's shaped by the choices you make today, the habits you foster, and the mindsets you embrace as the landscape of your life evolves. There are foundations more dependable than people, not because people don't love you, but because they are human. They get tired, they forget, they disappear. And that's not a tragedy, it's just reality. But if you understand where to plant your roots as you age, you'll never be shaken by the winds of uncertainty. You'll walk lighter, speak freer, and live stronger. And the first root, the one that holds everything else in place, is financial independence. Forget the illusion that wealth is luxury. At this stage, wealth is security. It's having a fridge that's always full, bills that don't haunt you at night, and choices that aren't dictated by desperation. It's the power to say no when something doesn't feel right, and yes when opportunity knocks. But more than that, it's about not being a burden. Because the greatest gift you can give your loved ones isn't inheritance, it's your autonomy. You don't need millions. You need discipline. You need a strategy that outlasts surprises, because surprises will come in the form of medical bills, home repairs, sudden transitions. And if your plan is to lean on others when that time comes, then you're gambling with your dignity. Your financial house doesn't need to be extravagant. It needs to be unshakable. Pensions, savings, small investments, whatever tools you have, master them. Use them with wisdom. Treat every dollar as a decision, and just as important as financial strength is physical strength, not measured in muscles, but in mobility, in being able to carry your own bags, open your own jars, and walk through your neighborhood without fear. There's a quiet confidence in waking up without chronic pain, in taking the stairs without dread, in knowing your body still serves you. After 60, your body either becomes your loyal companion or your greatest limitation. And that doesn't just depend on genes, it depends on choices. Every walk you skip, every meal you treat as an afterthought, every night you sleep poorly adds up. Aging isn't a thief, it's a mirror. And the reflection it shows is built by everything you do when you think no one's watching. You won't always have someone to drive you, to remind you to take your pills, to notice when your balance is off. So you must become that person for yourself. Be your own caretaker. Move daily. Eat like your future depends on it, because it does. Don't wait for a doctor to give you a reason to change. Create health routines that make disease feel unwelcome. Build a lifestyle that keeps the emergency room as a distant stranger, not a regular visitor. And yet, even with a healthy body and stable finances, life can feel empty if there's no one to laugh with. Connection, real, meaningful connection, doesn't happen by accident. It's not enough to rely on those who should be there, because should is fragile. It breaks under pressure. You need bonds that are cultivated, not inherited. A wide circle that doesn't rely on proximity, but on mutual effort. Isolation is the quiet killer of joy after 60. It creeps in through the cracks of routine. It disguises itself as peace, but slowly erodes your enthusiasm. The remedy isn't waiting for an invitation, it's sending one. Join groups, pick up new interests, reconnect with acquaintances you once let slip away. And if you feel nervous or awkward, good. That means you're alive. A community doesn't have to be large. It just needs to be active. People who check in, people who remember your birthday, people who ask how you're really doing. These aren't luxuries, they're necessities. Social connection protects your mental health more than medication ever could. It sharpens your mind, lifts your spirit, and reminds you that you are still part of something. But what keeps you waking up with purpose? What drives you when the titles fade? When no one needs your guidance? When the noise of work and family quiets? Purpose isn't always loud. It doesn't have to be grand or celebrated. Sometimes it's as simple as planting something and watching it grow. Learning something new because curiosity hasn't left you. Helping someone who can never repay you. That's the kind of fulfillment no retirement plan can provide. A life with purpose doesn't end at 60, it evolves. And if you don't create new meaning, you risk becoming a bystander in your own story. Purpose is the heartbeat of vitality. It gives color to your days and sharpness to your thoughts. It pulls you forward when everything else slows down. And it must come from within. No one can hand it to you. If you've lost yours, find it again. In books, in art, in service, in nature, in discipline, in reflection, in curiosity. And let that purpose become your daily fuel. Not for what others need from you, but for what you need from life. And while we're speaking of what comes from within, let's talk about emotional strength. Because the most generous circle, the healthiest body, and the fullest bank account mean little if you crumble in solitude. Life doesn't stop challenging you because you've aged. It simply changes its tactics. Grief, change, emptiness, they visit unannounced. And your ability to handle them is your armor. You won't always have a shoulder to cry on. Not because people don't care, but because they're busy crying too. Everyone's fighting their own battles. That's why your ability to process, to reflect, and to heal without depending on someone else becomes one of your greatest powers. Cry when you must, speak when it helps, but also learn to listen to your own voice in the quiet. Let it be kind, let it be wise, let it be enough. Emotional resilience isn't pretending, it's preparation. It's knowing that you will break sometimes, but you will rebuild yourself stronger. That you can feel sorrow and still get up. That joy is something you create, not something you wait for. And finally, perhaps the most underrated strength of all, adaptability. Because nothing, absolutely nothing, stays the same. The world doesn't slow down for you. It expects you to keep moving. And the more you resist, the harder the ride becomes. Adaptability isn't weakness. It's brilliance. It's evolution. It's looking at a changing world and saying, I still belong here. It's trading old tools for new ones, letting go of outdated beliefs, and allowing yourself to be surprised again. Those who age with grace are not the ones who protect the past. They are the ones who update their lives as if it were software, constantly improving, willing to upgrade, unafraid to restart. The future is not just for the young, it's for the bold. And if you're still breathing, then you're still in the game. Person visits and familiar routines to fill his days. But when the pandemic hit, his routines were disrupted. The places he used to go closed down. The people he used to see became distant. And suddenly his entire world shifted. For a while he felt stuck, like life had pressed pause and forgotten to press play again. But then he made a decision. Instead of waiting for life to return to what it used to be, he decided to evolve with it. He learned to use technology to stay connected. He started attending virtual meetups, video chatting with friends, and even joining online classes to learn new skills. What began as a survival tactic turned into a gateway to new purpose. He didn't just adapt, he grew, and that growth gave him confidence, new energy, and a renewed sense of control. This is what adaptability looks like. It's not about being perfect. It's about being willing to face discomfort, to start over, to stretch yourself in ways you didn't think were possible. The more adaptable you become, the less fearful you are of what's ahead. Whether it's losing a friend, downsizing your home, dealing with illness, or facing sudden changes in your finances, your ability to adjust becomes your secret weapon. Too often, we measure our success in aging by how well we preserve what we had. But real strength lies in how we respond when things no longer look the same. Do you retreat or do you evolve? Do you give up on growth or do you dig in and rise to meet new challenges? Because the truth is, no matter how secure your finances, how strong your body, how wide your social circle, or how deep your purpose, life will still change. What gives those other pillars their real power is your willingness to adapt. It's what lets you rebuild when something falls apart. It's what lets you say yes to something unfamiliar. And it's what gives you the resilience to create joy in unexpected places. This doesn't mean abandoning everything you've known. It means being open to rewriting the rules when necessary. Maybe your body doesn't move like it once did, so you explore new forms of movement. Maybe your family isn't as close as you'd hoped, so you build chosen family. Maybe the world around you feels more complicated, so you learn new tools to navigate it. Adaptability is a choice, and every time you make it, you reinforce the most essential truth of aging with strength. Your future isn't just something that happens to you, it's something you shape. When you understand this, truly understand it, you stop fearing what might be lost and start building what could still be found. And now, having explored these six pillars, financial stability, physical health, social connection, purpose, emotional resilience, and adaptability, something important becomes clear. While others may walk beside you for parts of the journey, the foundation that will carry you through is the one you build yourself. But this is not the end, because there's one final truth we rarely say out loud, yet it lingers in the back of our minds as we grow older. It's the fear of becoming invisible, not just to others, but to ourselves. When routines fade, when children become distant, when society seems to value youth over wisdom, it's easy to feel like you're disappearing in plain sight. You walk through the same places, but fewer people greet you. You speak, but fewer people truly listen. You wonder if your presence still carries weight. That's why these six pillars matter more than ever. Not just as sources of strength, but as reminders that you still matter, that your voice still counts, that your value doesn't expire with age, it deepens. Each pillar you build reinforces your visibility to yourself. Every time you choose to prioritize your well-being, every time you nurture a friendship, every time you wake up with purpose, adapt to a change, or face a hardship with grace, you remind yourself in the world, I'm still here, I still matter, and I'm not done growing, because aging isn't a soft fade into irrelevance. It's a process of becoming more grounded, more wise, more intentional. And when you own that process, you don't just survive the years, you define them. So if you're standing at the threshold of 60 or have already walked far beyond it, let this be the moment you decide not to drift quietly into the background. Let this be the moment you reclaim your power, not through anyone else, but through what you build inside yourself. You don't need to wait for someone to offer you a better life. You have the tools, you have the time, and you have the choice. Build your foundation, strengthen your pillars, and step forward, not as someone watching life pass by, but as someone boldly living every chapter. If you're still here, reading these words, that means a part of you is ready. Ready to do more than just hope things turn out okay. You're ready to take action. You're ready to build a life that's not just supported, but unshakable. And if this message has moved you in any way, consider taking one small step today. Reach out to someone. Take a walk. Reflect on what matters. Start the habit you've been putting off. Your life doesn't have to look like it did 20 years ago to be meaningful today. It just has to be yours. And it starts with one choice. So as you sit quietly with these thoughts, understand one thing clearly. The years behind you are not a signal to slow down, but a testament to everything you've survived, learned, and loved. Every wrinkle holds a memory. Every scar tells a story. And every breath you take today is an opportunity to start something new. You may not move as fast as you once did, but wisdom, resilience, and experience now walk beside you. That is your superpower. You are not merely aging. You are evolving into your truest, most powerful self. The world still needs your voice, your presence, your stories, your laughter. There are people out there, family, friends, even strangers, who need your light more than you know. Don't let society's shallow narrative about aging define your path. Rewrite it with strength, with grace, with purpose, because it's not too late, not even close. You can still begin a project. Learn something new, love deeper, laugh harder, heal what's been hurt, inspire others just by showing up as you are. And if this message touched something inside you, if it sparked even a flicker of hope or recognition, don't keep it to yourself. We are building a space here for people who still believe in living fully, regardless of age. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Join this community of brave souls who are choosing to thrive, not just survive. Click the bell so you never miss another moment of encouragement, wisdom, or truth. You've walked a long road to get here, but the most meaningful chapters might still be unwritten.